of deja vu, because 3 years ago I stood here telling you about this play, and yes, and off we went, and we cast it mostly, entirely, and 3 years on, I'm here to tell you about it again. Lord Arthur Saville's Crime. That's what we're opening the season. And those of you who have long memories know that it was put on, I think, Tony and Chris Manning-Kelly talk about nothing else.
We're in it too.
Oh, really? Well, I can't see anybody, so...
Maureen and Ross.
So you all know it better than I do, really. But this particular play, of course, is based on Oscar Wilde's story. And it's rather strange, really, because we had Lady Bracknell's confinement. Although there isn't a Lady Bracknell in the play, there's a character who's very Lady Bracknell-like. And most of the characters are very Oscar Wilde, including Lady Windermere. She makes an entrance there. I made some notes. I'll probably fall over trying to look at them. I couldn't find my original notes, so I had to read the play again. And you know, I hadn't read the play for 3 years. I'm so glad I did. I'd just like to say, though, that when I work on a show here, and this would be my fourth, I always work very closely with a chap who I brought along to this theatre, who I think you'll all agree has made a big impact, and that's the marvellous Kevin Onley. Really? But unfortunately he can't be here tonight because he's doing his Cockney Nights thing. But Kevin and I have worked together. I've only known him since 2014, and we have done 24 shows together. Wow. Yeah, so I don't think I could do a show that Kevin. And a lot of these things that happen are because of him. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a little spoiler or two about it. For those who don't know the play, it's obviously a farce set in the 1890s. I don't see no reason to change that because that's how the style is written in. But I'm going for a very stylised production, and there's all sorts of little tricks that I'm up to. And one of the things which we're going to do is try and keep the set fairly uncluttered. I mean, late Victorian and Edwardian sets are full of clutter. You know, full of furniture, full of paintings, and what have you, but this one is ludicrous. You know, it has to be ludicrous, it has to be fast moving. And the farcical side of things all come to a climax when a smoking bomb arrives on the stage. And in fact, last time I did the presentation, I actually had the bomb. We can't find it now. Kevin seems to think it's in the box room, but we can't find it. But the play ends on that note, in this lunacy. And the big surprise, I don't mind saying it, because we had talked about it, Kevin and I are trying to blow up the stage. Yeah.
No set break on Sunday morning?
That'll make things easier, won't it? But of course it's all got to be put back together again, that's the hard part. But certainly it won't be a show you can sleep through. It's going to have all sorts of things happening. And the characters, as I say, are all very Oscar Wilde in their style. I won't go into that because I'm not casting the show, but there's one character I still need to cast, though, is Dean of Paddington, so if anybody's interested, let me know. And I've got a very good stage management team, yes. We have the marvellous Viv, who I know is here tonight, with Dennis. Dennis my stage manager, and Viv is my assistant stage manager. I use those words carefully because I don't like word prompt. I don't believe in that, but that's my assistant stage manager. But if anybody's out there interested in two things I don't have covered at the moment, that is props and wardrobe. So if anybody's interested, please come forward. I've got Peter helping me out with the sound, I think, or the lighting. I'm not quite sure which way around it will be. Which one was it? Lights. Lights. So we still need someone on sound, which might be me. I don't know. It's hard to get a decision out of him, isn't it, really? But certainly the characters themselves are zany, and I think that's how the whole production will be. I want to keep it very fast moving, and hence we don't have this clutter of the furniture and everything in the set. The other thing to remember about Oscar Wilde is that all the characters are, you've got them, and if you just turn that page for me, it's terrible, isn't it? I don't know what I'll do about my secretary. No chance. But certainly, as far as the set is concerned, we're going to have this kind of skeletal arch which everybody passes through. And when we have the explosion at the end, and those who don't know the story, Lord Arthur's pretty dim, he's not really bright, but he's been told by Chiromantis, that's a reader of palms, that he has to commit a crime before he can get married. And so he decides to try and bump off various members of his family, and they all end in disaster. But the thing is that they're all quite ludicrous in a way, boys and chocolates and exploding umbrellas and tripping down stairs. And one by one, these fail. And finally, we have the smoking bomb. And this skeletal arch, that's quite essential because I don't know whether you've been in the audience tonight. I know he's on the bar. Is his lordship here?
Yes.
Why Councillor Sidcup. He actually is on stage when the arch collapses. And so if he's in the wrong place, that's the end of him. But certainly, they're a fun production, and I hope you all come and see it and enjoy it. As I say, if you are interested in the venal pageants, let me know tonight. And also those jobs, which are very much essential. But otherwise, I'm really looking forward to the season. And can I just say good luck to my fellow directors, because you've really got some great things coming up in store. So thank you very much, everybody, and I'll hand back to Kevin.
Hi, it's Claire Dingley here, and I'm here to talk to you about the play that I will be directing between the 10th to the 17th of December this year, which is Shakers by John Godber. Now, for any of you that might not be familiar with this play, it is about 4 cocktail waitresses up in the north who have their own ambitions but are stuck in this rather dead-end job. The additional challenge for these 4 ladies is that they play all of the other characters that come into the cocktail bar. So that includes men, women, teenagers, girls going to a party, boys out on the pool, and the list is endless. At the last count, I worked out that there was something like 38 different changes of character, some of which happen really, really quickly. So 2 of the parts, Adele and Mel, are already cast because they originally were cast from when I was going to do it back in 2020. And we all know what happened that year. So Adele is being played by Hannah Murphy and Mel by Anna McNamara. So the 2 characters that I am looking for to audition and be part of this team is Carol, who is probably the only one out of all of them that has any form of ambition to become a professional photographer, and Nikki, who is hoping to become a dancer on a cruise ship, and I think we use the term dancer rather loosely. As far as the audition pieces are concerned, what I'll be looking for is changes in voice, pace, physicality, and the ability to switch really quickly between this vast array of characters that you will be playing. In some cases, it's literally switching from one character to another in a matter of seconds. So there'll be quite a lot of hard work for the cast and hard work for me as well. The audition is being held on Saturday the 11th of June between 3 to 5 p.m. and the audition pieces will be available down at the theatre. As it's set in December, we can really bring the festive season alive with some of those great cheesy Christmas tunes, 1980s Christmas tunes, and there will also possibly be a special Christmas cocktail on order as well. There are, apart from rehearsal props, when it comes to the performances, there will be no props whatsoever. So a lot of the work in rehearsals is creating believable situations, believable characters, and also believable activities where the audience will not actually be seeing the objects that you might be cleaning the bar with, or the tray carrying the cocktail drinks, or serving a couple in the corner their meal. So not only a challenge for the cast, it'll be a challenge for me, and I hope that you are interested enough to come and join me on this exciting journey of Shakers.
I would like to start by thanking the committee for giving me this opportunity. Imagine this. You are 19 years old, from a working class background, and not a student of drama. You go to the theatre one night and are so inspired and impressed by the play you have seen that you go home and decide to write your own. You want to be part of this brave new world. And then what do? You send your script to one of the most avant-garde directors of the day and ask for the play to be considered for performance. And what do you know? It works. Just luck? Or the play had such merit and impact and the director such vision that it was the obvious thing to do to put it on the stage. The director was Joan Littlewood, the playwright was Sheila Delaney, and the play was A Taste of Honey. Sheila Delaney wrote A Taste of Honey when she was just 19, and it was first performed in 1958 by Joan Littlewood's Theatre Workshop Company at the Theatre Royal, Stratford East, London. A company described as being made up of outlaws and renegades who pushed the boundaries of performance at that time. What was it about the play that made it so appealing to Littlewood? A Taste of Honey was a groundbreaking play when it was first written, but has become a British classic and has maintained its relevance. It falls into the genre of kitchen sink dramas, much like others of the time, such as A Kind of Loving and Look Back in Anger. These plays focused on working class people dealing with everyday problems and embraced a new reality that hadn't been seen in British drama up to that point. It contributed to the huge shift in theatre which challenged the dominant middle-class perspective when it was staged. Delaney's heartfelt portrayal of the north of England is full of spirited boldness, and the script was iconic for being what was considered the first angry young woman play in a world full of angry young men. The main protagonists of this play are two women, each from a different generation, who reflect the role in society in which they find themselves. And the play offers a celebration of the vulnerabilities and strength of the female spirit in a deprived world. Sheila Delaney's play is set in a working class northern town. It reflects the attitudes of society in the late 50s and the issues of gender, race, class and sexuality that it explores were both incredibly contemporary and controversial for a piece written at that time. It has to be questioned whether a contemporary play written more than 50 years ago is still going to resonate with a modern audience. It's a play that has stood the test of time because it's got everything that makes a great play. It's gritty, it's funny, it's tender. It's also got a lot of big issues in it that, unfortunately, are still big issues today. But as Delaney herself said, the characters in the play are resilient and not depressed by the harshness of their environment. No one in my play despairs. Like the majority of people, they take in their stride whatever happens to them and remain cheerful. There are poignant moments and humour throughout the play. The two leading roles of Helen and Jo are very satisfying to play from the actor's point of view. Although Helen seems to be a neglectful mother, whose behaviour has impacted in a very negative way on her daughter, we see their relationship develop and evolve through the play, and the two women end up at the end where they were at the beginning, just the two of them together. The role of Jo is a major one, as every other character interacts with her on stage almost continuously. We see how Jo responds to a mother's love, a lover's love, and a friend's love in different ways. Helen is aware of her feminine charms, and she gets by in life by having a series of boyfriends to support her, a single parent getting by in the only way she knows how. She is a good time girl who loves a drink and a sing-song in a pub. To look 40 years old, large role. Jo has led a very transitory life with her mother. She tries to make the best of the situations her mother has put her into, but ultimately is left to look after herself. She is a victim of Helen's bullying and negligence, but is not without strength and has unshakable optimism. She is searching for love and protection. To look late teens, early 20s, very large role. Peter is a brash car salesman and Helen's current boyfriend, but he has no true feelings for her. He is out for himself and having a good time. To look 30s, small to medium role. Jeff is an art student who befriends Jo, but as Jeff is gay, they are more like brother and sister, and he takes a nurturing and protective role over Jo. To look 20 to 30 years old, medium role. Jimmy is a British black sailor doing his national service. Jo falls for him, and he brings her a brief burst of joy, but there is no happy ending for this romance. To look in his 20s, small role. The technical details are these. The set will be simple, with the action taking place in the main room in a rundown flat which reflects the austerity of the late 50s in a working class area. The lighting will be realistic, with one spotlight front of tabs for a specific scene. The music will be pre-recorded and will be simple instrumentals used to set a soulful atmosphere of the 50s. A few sound effects will be needed. I look forward to seeing you at the auditions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know who I am, as Kevin said, I'm Andrew Hogarth, and I've been gratefully asked to direct the 2023 April production at this wonderful theatre. Usually I'm helming productions with a theatre company called No Frills Theatre, which is primarily based in Dartford, but we produce plays all over Kent and beyond. I formed the company in 2015, and I've produced, directed and performed in productions such as Glengarry Glen Ross, Of Mice and Men, The Elephant Man, Angels in America, Orphans, and most recently The Red Lion, but not necessarily at the same time. The company have performed several times at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and we will be there again this year with 2 productions. I'm pleased to be here this evening. I would like to thank Suzanne and the drama committee for the opportunity to direct here at the Edward Alderton and the chance to work with a fresh group of actors and backstage crew. So, the moment you've been waiting for. My production will be Wait Until Dark. And I believe the play's been performed before here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure some of you are aware of it. For the unaware, the play was written in the mid-1960s by Frederick Knott, most famous for writing Dial M for Murder, which premiered on the Broadway stage in 1966, and it starred Lee Remick and Robert Duvall. And the West End in the same year starring Honor Blackman and Peter Sallis from Last of the Sun and Wine. The following year, a film version was produced which starred Audrey Hepburn and Alan Arkin. The play was originally set in Notting Hill in London, but the Broadway version changed the location to New York. For this production, I will be going the American route. For me, setting the play in New York gives a more gritty and naturalistic vibe, as opposed to an arguably twee middle-class English version. If you think of 1960s plays, they tend to be very twee. You know, after the 50s, the Angry Young Men type play, the 60s came and the English plays tended to be a very middle class. So, for this production, I hope it's going to be an uncompromising and unrelenting piece of drama. Accent-wise, I'd be looking for generic US accents. However, if anyone can do a New York accent, more the merrier. So what we have, or I hope we will have, is a gripping and taut thriller. The story concerns Susie, a recently blinded housewife, who unwittingly comes into possession of a child's musical doll that happens to be filled with heroin. A brutal and sophisticated psychopath coerces two petty criminals into helping him con Susie into giving up the valuable doll. A battle of wits thus ensues as Susie, with the aid of a young girl who lives upstairs, launch a counterplot against the villains. It's a slow burner of a play that evolves into a suspenseful and chilling piece of theatre. Casting for the play is crucial in finding the right balance of naturalism in a heightened, perhaps ludicrous situation. A lot of wordplay between the characters establishes strong characterization. And as a whole, the play needs to be deftly handled in order to produce a realistic and natural scenario. I hope that audiences will be fully engaged and will enjoy a fantastic thrill ride. So, what we've got, I've got a synopsis, breakdown of characters, all dates, edition.
Do you want to read
Pieces.
the characters?
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What happens in the end?
Who said that? Right, so the characters. We've got Susie, who's the main character, a vivacious woman who was blinded in a car crash. Possessing a very strong will, she is highly intuitive, even when the stakes are high and her own life is on the line. Most people would find her to be kind, funny and smart, but in the face of adversity, she is an intellectual force to be reckoned with. Female, obviously. 30 plus is a plain age range for that. Sam Henderson, that's Susie's husband, a former soldier turned society photographer. He has a deep love for his wife Susie. He is determined that she should live a life of independence despite her lack of sight. He's a little fixated with his work, but a good man. Playing age 30 plus. Then we come to the chief villain, Harry Rote, a master criminal with no empathy for anyone. And like many sociopaths, he's highly intelligent and manipulative. He would almost be charming if he wasn't a sadistic killer. Playing age 20 plus. Then we have the two small-time villains. Mike, a smart, charismatic con man with an eye on the prize. Fit, suave and tough, but with a good moral compass. Playing age 30 plus. Then we have Croker, another small-time crook. He is coarse and a little uneducated, with a flexible code of ethics. 40 plus. Then we have Gloria, a young girl with mostly absent parents who finds sanctuary in the home of Susie and Sam. She's very insecure and sensitive, but she is smarter than most adults would believe. So I've been looking at a female child, 10 to 12 years old. Then we have two police officers. No addition required for the police officers. They have 8 lines between them. So if anyone wants just a walk-on part as a police person, male or female, any age whatsoever. That's the characters, and as I said, accent-wise, generic US accent would be fine unless anyone auditioning can use a New York accent. Dates-wise, 1st to the 8th of April. Is that right?
Yeah, and audition Saturday the 18th.
Saturday 18th of June, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, I believe. And the tagline for the play is, like nothing you've ever seen.
It's both a crime drama and a haunting sci-fi thriller. At the play's end, the world, both real and virtual, will not look quite the same again. Virtual reality and the metaverse, like Facebook, etc., are media technologies that aim to present content in the most natural form possible. By seamlessly integrating simulated sights, sounds, and even feelings into our perception of the world around us. Augmented reality is an enhanced version of the real world. And that's achieved through the use of digital, visual elements, sound or other sensory stimuli delivered via technology. It can alter our sense of the world, distorting how we interpret our daily experiences. Our surroundings will become filled with persons, places, objects, activities that don't actually exist, and yet they will seem really authentic. Google was one of the first companies to launch augmented reality, glasses, spectacles, and other companies like InWith are progressing, and believe it or not, they are producing metaverse wearable contact lenses. Snapchat was early with its spectacle wearable camera. I have one here. You all know this. These are HoloLenses, but they will dissolve into a contact lens. That's what they're working on at the moment. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, has made it a priority to introduce headsets into Instagram and other social media platforms. But this metaverse could provide forums for misinformation and manipulation. It comes with fantastic advantages and terrifying dangers. This will be bigger than artificial intelligence. It will blend the digital and the real worlds together, and the two may well become indistinguishable. Already, many of the prototype systems are able to pick up brainwave patterns. Thus, everything you say, manipulate, look at, or even think about can be monitored in this mixed augmented reality. Do you think we need a system to police it? Well, there are people who today are worried about the influence of Twitter on politics and freedom of speech. Only a few weeks ago, Elon Musk took over this media, saying he wants to unlock its potential and relax its content restrictions. In a completely immersive environment with augmented reality, think of how much more influence you can have on someone when you transport them to a different, extremely emotive world. So, the play is called The Nether by Jennifer Haley. It received its UK premiere at the Royal Court, with widely successful production which transferred to the London's West End in 2015. It was nominated for several Olivier Awards, one of them being Best Play. The playwright allows directors to set it location specific to their country. So we're in South East London, in the not too distant future, both in an interrogation room and in the virtual world of The Hideaway. Set and lighting, interrogation room, cold and clinical, The Hideaway, a warm glow, also evening effect with particular areas enhanced. Although there are 16 scenes, there will only be one blackout. Costumes and props, modern and Victorian. Sound, pre-recorded, 2 songs, 2 waltzes, and then atmospheric soundscapes as we move from reality into the virtual world. Jennifer Haley's drama imagines a dystopian future in which social and professional activity exists mainly online. Environmental degradation has alienated us from the natural world, and human beings are increasingly disconnected from one another. This sets the scene for the character Sims to create an online environment that recreates the sights, sounds, smells and feelings of an innocent time gone by. However, this virtual hideaway conceals some very dark secrets. So, there are 5 characters. Sims, whose avatar in the virtual world is Papa, 50 to 70. An in-world businessman, and his avatar is Papa, the proprietor of the hideaway. An intelligent man who freely promotes his enterprise without remorse. He has a shifty persona in the real world and an oily supremacy in the hideaway, where he is the patriarch. Morris, a female detective, 35 to 50, investigating the hideaway. She is full of moral righteousness and also desperate for retribution concerning her father. A powerful, glacial presence, menacing and threatening, and she will not give up. Doyle, 55-60, science teacher. He has a wife and daughter who he rarely sees because he spends most of his time in the hideaway. He's a mess of a man who has lost all sense of perspective, shows vulnerability and pathos. Iris, to look like a young, innocent girl. She looks fresh and is enchanting with a youthful earnestness, shaded with a certain knowingness. Woodnut, he's an avatar guest in the hideaway, kind-hearted, and I can't tell you anything more about him, else I will give the whole plot away. The audition day is Saturday the 18th of June, 12:30 to 2:30. Why I'm happy to do this play, I'm excited to do this play, because it's topical and it's relevant today, as well as thought-provoking for the very near future. The Times Review said, "This play is mind-bending, it's ingenious, and it's ethically challenging, structured quite brilliantly, like a hall of mirrors." So I hope I've whetted your appetite, and I look forward to seeing you at the audition.
Hello. I wish I could see you all. I can't. It's very lovely that you're all here. Thank you very much. I'm very ill prepared for this. And as a therapist, I'm going, why is that? Why am I not prepared? It's because I think I haven't got to say it to you. The last time I was up here talking about the play, it was a Greek tragedy that nobody had heard of, and it was called Antigone. Everyone was like, Antigone? So, but with this one, I haven't got it. Let me tease you a little bit, I guess. So, the writer is one of the finest American writers. He, apparently according to Wikipedia, has received more combined Oscar and Tony Award nominations than any other. So who might it be?
Neil Simon.
Neil Simon! Neil Simon, responsible for plays like John?
Gingerbread Lady.
Gingerbread Lady?
California Suite.
Yes.
Plaza
The Odd
Suite.
Couple, Plaza Suite.
London Suite.
Barefoot in the Park. Sorry, what? Barefoot in the Park. That is what I should be directing. Barefoot in the Park, beautiful, well-constructed play, lovely, gorgeous characters. I'm sure you would have seen the film if you haven't seen the play. Jane Fonda and Robert Redford, absolutely gorgeous. So, characters. The newlyweds, the Bratters. We've got Corrie and Paul. Corrie is in her early 20s. She is described in the script as lovely, young and full of hope for the future. She's very recently married to Paul. They've been married for 6 days and they're moving into their new apartment. I think she's intelligent, vivacious, optimistic, but she's also quite unconventional. And I think she really needs to be played with energy And I've said on my sheet a live physicality. So I need to feel that joie de vivre in the way you are physically, if you're going to go for the role. And her new husband is Paul, who's the antithesis of her. He is a lawyer, he's about to take on his first case, and he's looking to really make his mark. So he's described in the script as 26, but dresses like he's 56. He's a bit of a stuffed shirt. Although, as the play progresses, his stolid veneer does crack, and you do get to see some emotional vulnerability. So they're both really beautiful characters to play, so much in there. And with Neil Simon, you always get the wisecracking, the jokes, but there's also some slapstick humour, because I think he used to enjoy Lauren Hardy and all the black and white slapstick stuff. So some of that's there. So you've got to be able to play. You really have. And New York accents would be nice too. American accents definitely. So a bit of coffee maybe. I don't know, that's about all I can say. New York, that's about it. That would be really nice. And I would hope that we can get someone in to help you with that. To get the accent right. So they're our newly married couple moving into their very bare 5th floor apartment with a broken ceiling with the snow coming through. So that's going to be a challenge for staging and the set. We've also got Corrie's mother, Mrs. Banks, who I think is an absolute joy for any actress to take on. She's nervous, a hypochondriac, and she's a widow. And she is set up by Corrie with their attic-dwelling neighbour, Victor Velasco, a very charismatic Lothario, shall we say. And there are lots of nice duologues between all these different characters. So Mrs. Banks is a hypochondriac, she's nervous. She's described in the script as pretty, but has not bothered to look after herself these last few years. And I really do think it's a fantastic opportunity for an actress to demonstrate some really understated comedic prowess. Go for it. If you can, go for it. And Victor is just as charming. So he is suave, as I say, charismatic, and he doesn't have a New York accent. He apparently, I think, there's some confusion whenever I read about where is he actually from. Sometimes he's Albanian, sometimes he's Hungarian, but basically we need some kind of South European accent, which you can play with too. So there are our main 4 roles. The other 2 cameo roles are a delivery man, who he appears briefly at the beginning of Act 1 and briefly at the beginning of Act 2. But he's incredibly memorable and he's got some great snappy repartee and really does set the comedic tone for the play. So there's him, and there's also another delivery man who needs to be probably 60 plus, and he's only got 2 lines, I think, and most of them are because he's had to walk all the way up this drive. So we've got, and not for any other reason. Okay, so yes, so that will be on 15th to the 22nd of July, and auditions are Saturday the 11th of June at 12:30. I really hope to see a lot of you there. Thank you very much.